Hello, everyone, and welcome to this podcast from the Light Review. And today I'm talking with Richard Bushnell, Global Head of Sales and Marketing for what was OSRAM but is now Inventronics, and that's why we're talking. Richard, good morning to you. How are you?
Good morning. Yes, very well.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, we know this thing has happened. There are interesting and exciting things in the ether, but I think underneath all of that, there are questions being asked, and I can't think of a better person to answer those questions than the guy who has essentially, I'm sorry about this, has been the face of OSRAM for a number of years.
Sure.
So, can you just give us a little bit of the background as to how we've now got another part of OSRAM moving away from, if you like, the family home, and it's the second time we've seen that in the last sort of decade or so. And what was the thinking behind that has brought us to this place where now, we, as far as we're concerned, OSRAM is no more, and we now need to be talking about Inventronics, whom for most of us we've never heard of.
Mm-hmm. When it comes to the light review and to your readers, yes, because here we talk about general illumination.
Yeah.
And of course, OSRAM does still exist in the UK. It's AMS OSRAM, and they're a semiconductor company, they're an automotive company, and they're still manufacturing lamps for. It's an entertainment and industry company as well, and they're still manufacturing lamps for those types of industries.
Okay.
But for general illumination, yes, there's been some significant changes, and it all boils down to the death of the lamp, if anything. I mean, I have a book here. You'll love this. I have a book here from 1906.
Good grief.
Which is called Tungsten Lamp Agreements, where you can see the companies, or the OSRAM organization, was selling tungsten to what are essentially coach builders at that time. The tungsten lamp being the engine, and the rest of the envelope being the coach builder, which was run locally by companies like Robertson Lampworks. So it's like this huge history, but essentially OSRAM's always been about light and about lamps. So what changed? And what changed was leadification.
Yeah.
And OSRAM were very, very early into developing LED technology, and OSRAM will continue to work with LED technology as one of the largest suppliers of LED technology in the world. So to that extent, nothing changed. But in terms of the companies that you're talking about that have moved away, you could take IBM as an example. IBM used to be this great big machine, this monolith, and then all of the little parts of IBM then got hived off so that they could grow even further. And it's a similar story with OSRAM.
Okay.
So the lamp business was always going to be a bit of a challenge moving forward, particularly as most of them are now banned. So there needed to be an exit strategy, and there was an exit strategy, and a lot of the lamp business moved into luminaire business, and that operates under a different company now. When it comes to the latest change, the change of OSRAM Digital Systems, which was like one of the largest bits of the company in general illumination, that has evolved again into two separate businesses globally. So OSRAM Digital Systems was one global entity. North America was purchased by Acuity. You might have remembered that about 2 years ago. And we ran a change of control in April this year for the remaining business, which was the Digital Systems Eurasia business. And that goes to a company called Inventronics. And I have since relinquished my role as CEO for OSRAM UK, and I'm now working for Inventronics. And again, the intent here for your readers, OSRAM Digital Systems was always about light engines, drivers, and controls. It still is. And when you look at the strategic intent for those two organizations, Inventronics and OSRAM Digital Systems, the marriage is perfect, and the marriage has been perfect since they first started talking as long ago as 2017. That was when the first conversations started.
Okay.
And what you have with Inventronics is an organization that is quite young. It's around 14, 15 years old, but grew so quickly with key markets in North America and in China. And maybe 20% of the business sitting in Europe, with a product portfolio that was always about high power, high efficiency, and high quality. So it wasn't really impacting the general illumination market. It was more applications that are sort of stadium, horticulture, really big, powerful beasts.
Yeah.
And they grew their business exponentially, really quickly. And then when you look at the OSRAM digital systems business, there's a big footprint sitting in Europe, particularly in Italy and Germany, with factories in Italy and a headquarter in Germany. So again, when you look at the footprint of the two companies, you've got the technology piece and the product piece, where there's very little overlap with the different products that both organizations were making. And then you've got the geographical footprint, where they've got a footprint in North America that we didn't have because we sold it to Acuity. And then you've got the footprint in Europe, which they didn't particularly have. So the marriage has been a very good one, and it's more of a merger than a takeover. And if you talk to any of the employees in the company, now that we're coming up to 8 months since change of control, proof of the pudding's in the eating, and the pudding's tasting good.
Excellent. Well done to all of you. I must say that the people who I've spoken to who do know Inventronics have said, oh yeah, great, really good product, excellent. But again, as you say, it's always been away from general lighting. So presumably you're going to sort of, in order to keep the damn thing practical and manageable, Inventronics will still be doing their stuff at the heavy end, and I don't know what to call it. Inventronics will also be doing what it does at the general end, or do you think that merger is really going to be?
I mean, there's an indoor outdoor piece. There's an application specific piece there as well, with regards to how to make the company move forward in the future. Right now, both organisations, after change of control, are standing side by side. Mm. And we're learning from each other. So no huge radical changes. The biggest change actually both organisations will see is around the IT system. And it's a good example. You had, as I said, a company that grew incredibly quickly, and as a result had an ERP that bolted another ERP onto it, and then maybe another ERP onto that, I don't know. And then you had OSRAM Digital Systems that had this sort of 25-year-old beast that came from Siemens that really isn't fit for purpose for a much smaller organisation. It's not, it's not a 120 billion euro organisation. It's a much smaller organisation. So nothing really fits.
Right.
So we have to build a new one. So we build a new one, and that integration has been done very carefully. And it's worked particularly well. So, we haven't, touch wood, upset any customers as we've moved customers from SAP to the new one.
Okay. Looking at other companies where similar things have happened, but it's normally these have not been mergers. You cannot call them. These have been takeovers, where you have a parent company who's a lighting company, and you have a company that's been bought, which is another lighting company. And then then the model that says these two companies will operate separately, even though there's only one board. You know what I'm saying? So everybody, all the daughter companies, if you like, are obliged to look up towards the main board, and the main board is also, if you like, sometimes a competing company to some of the companies that they bought. Which always feels a bit odd sometimes, because you go, but why didn't you just bring it all together under one heading? In fact, why did you buy those people at all? But I get the feeling here that you've got, because there is that sort of vertical arrangement that's very heavy and that's quite light, that you can draw a line where you want to draw it, at least for the time being.
Sure, absolutely. It's a growth synergy. So we've got to, and we will build the company around application product groups, and there is a very natural fit based on the fact that we've had differing portfolios and a different geographical spread. But when you look at the branding pillars of both organisations as well, what did these companies stand for with regards to quality, technology, sustainability, customer focus? They were also very, very similar. The brand itself was very different. So what you had on the Inventronics side was, there was a blue italic writing with a rising sun. And that was a successful brand globally for a number of years, if you're a customer that sits in that space, which is typically outdoor, not indoor.
Yep.
And then from the OSRAM perspective, it started with the lamp, and then it sort of moved into I don't know if you remember the launch of the brand. Not sure how much it cost, but effectively we lost the lamp because we needed to lose the lamp. It was just, the big OSRAM. So, we did a great exercise, a few of us, together with a branding company to rebrand the company, because nothing's really fitting. And so we developed the what we call the new Orange Inventronics. And hopefully your readers will have seen the brand now. The brand very quickly.
I think that's a wonderful sort of statement of intent from the Inventronics side, to recognise.
Well, actually, no, from both sides.
From both
sides. Yes. So the team that put that together had representatives from both organisations, and we need to, and we will over a period of time, because the products will continue to be licensed and branded OSRAM, the products that we make today.
Oh, okay.
For a period of time. So we've got a run off. But the intent is to transfer that equity that we had that was sitting in the OSRAM brand into that Inventronics brand, and make the Inventronics brand more recognised within that market. Now, we're not talking about millions and millions of consumers that need to have that brand equity transfer. We're talking about lighting designers. We're talking about our partners in the OEM community.
Yeah.
We're talking about the trade business. We're talking about installers. But we're not talking about millions and millions of people here. So we don't need to run a massive campaign. But we do need to let our customers know that eventually Inventronics, the Orange Inventronics, will be the new brand.
Okay. So what we can expect to see on product, the OSRAM name will be there for a time. Are we going to see? Are we going to see a time when? I mean, is it going to say Inventronics on the box? If cardboard box, driver inside, whatever, and the driver inside's got OSRAM written on it, but the box, it will have Inventronics and OSRAM on it, or is that the trend? Is that
exactly? And in fact, if you look at if you were to buy a driver from us today, now that we've moved ownership, you will actually see OSRAM branded product with Inventronics GmbH as the manufacturer.
Okay, all right, okay. Because as you say, everybody who cares is a professional, because we're doing B2B, not B2C, and that's the important thing. So the manufacturer is still has it just transferred lock, stock, and barrel? Everything that was OSRAM DS is now Inventronics, and basically on a Monday morning, everybody turned up, and they were working for somebody else.
Well, not quite how it works, because it's quite complicated. It's quite complex, the way that you do it. So there was a certain critical mass of the business that was an asset purchase, and that moved on day one.
Okay.
But then we had to transfer parts of legal entities and people that were sitting within legal entities into the new organisation. So there's been, and there continues to be, a transition period. And this is where you can work as a manufacturer in a distribution model. But as we sit now in November, most of that has taken place.
Okay. Great. Well, you know, I'm looking forward to seeing you all at Light 23 in
Yes.
just 3 weeks' time.
I know,
is it
it's
3 weeks' time? Yes, it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
We do
2
have
weeks'
a booth.
time. Actually, 2 weeks' time. Let's, because otherwise we'll miss it.
True.
Yeah.
We have a booth. So, yes, we're very keen to speak to as many people as possible and to, you know, send that message that actually nothing has changed in terms of the factors of production, in terms of the product portfolio, in terms of the people. Nothing's changed, and nothing there really is expected to change other than the positivity of growing the business, growing it together, having a wider portfolio and more places to sell it.
Well, we can't undersell that, can we? I mean, that is really the bottom line of everything, because now with you know, Inventronics and OSRAM all pointing, they're both pointing in the same direction. We can see where the business is going. We can see what needs to be done, and that is terribly exciting. So, in other words, everyone, nothing to see here. Nothing's changed. just the name on the box. Richard's still going to be there. The team's still going to be there. We're all going to be there in Light 23, saying, "What's happened here then?" Because we're going to go to bed and forget, and then we'll say, "Who the hell's Inventronics?" Are you going to have that book with you?
No tungsten.
There are people out there, Richard, who would say, "You say that now." Well, here's the surprise. Okay. Hey, Richard, thank you very much for your time. I know you're a really busy guy and you've got a whole globe to look after. So I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Thank you very much. And I'll see you the next time. Thanks all. Bye.
Thank you.